Hey, enjoy this crisp audio. You can put this one in the intro.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bideo. It is the 10th of July, 2019, and we're gonna do a podcast that's about video games, probably. Um, Steve, how are you doing?
I've been pretty good over the last month, mostly just playing games and enjoying the summer. How about you?
Um, I've been sick a lot, it seems, and yeah, I also played games. What about you, Dan?
You sound you sound under the weather, Noah. Are you sick right now?
I have a cough, and I'm not actually sick, but I'm also really tired.
Wow. You overworking yourself, getting ready for the move?
Uh, Very possibly. It could also just be that I gave up caffeine, so now I'm not running on like fake energy or
Hmm,
any energy.
that's true. It does make a big difference. I stopped drinking caffeine a while ago too, so I know what you're going through.
So why'd you stop?
Just decided to,
All right.
So how do you explain the fact that I drink tons of caffeine and I'm still tired all the time?
because you drink too much caffeine, so it has no effect.
Shouldn't I just default back to a normal state, which would be not super tired?
I mean, you're gonna crash. I think that's inevitable.
I think you're constantly crashing, and the amount of energy drinks you drank have acted as a vaccine, keeping you from getting the beneficial effects.
Well, I barely drink energy drinks anymore. Now it's all coffee, and I'm still tired. So
I don't know what to tell you, man.
I treat energy drinks like a normal person treats alcohol, where I'm like, it's a special night. I'm gonna get a little wild on this Friday night. I'm gonna have me an energy drink.
Ooh, but it's Wednesday.
Have me one of those ginger ale highballs from the co-op. So good.
Dude, you shouldn't. You know what you're like on those.
I I do get kind of annoying sometimes. Every now and again, it doesn't happen too often because usually I'm just tired at all times of my life. But every now and again, it's like the right combination of how tired I am and like what I ate combined with the fact that I'm drinking an energy drink. I just get like really upbeat and like chipper in a way that is probably in a way that I know is definitely annoying.
Is that
To,
what happens when I consider you to have short circuited?
well, it's either that or more than likely you're experiencing me when I'm really tired.
Okay, because usually when I wake up on a gamer weekend, you come down and you tell me to start doing gamer flaps, and I'm not sure where that came from. But then I do
Okay.
gamer flaps.
Okay. That I'm gonna give you some real talk, Noah. You're gonna have to open your heart for a second here. That is 100% just excitement to be hanging out with Noah. That is, I never get to see my buddy. He's finally hanging out at my house for a weekend. I am freaking hyped to wake him up, play some games, and it comes out like I'm a child.
Gamer flap.
Do the gamer flap! And then I get excited about gamer nugs and gamer Cheetos. Let's go for
Oh
a
my
gamer
Gamer
walk.
god.
Cheetos.
So what do you guys want to talk about?
I don't know. We got lots of things to talk about. It's been a while.
What are y'all been playing in the last month?
Apex.
Final Fantasy 14.
That's true. Man, there's a lot of big games actually. So I think it's fair to just briefly touch on Apex because I've been playing it for the last 2 days, 2 or 3 days, and this is the first time I played Apex
Since last season.
since I barely played during season one. I mostly played at the beginning of when the game launched. And dude, Apex is good. Like Apex was always good, but it's real good now because there are meters that I can fill. Like I'm enjoying the meters.
Dude, it was a lot less good during season one, and I think you just thought it was good because you didn't play a lot of it. But we played a lot of it, and it got monotonous.
I so I was listening to the Giant Bombcast. So to just quote another podcast, because that's what you come to the video for. They were talking about how, and I agreed with them, that they think it's the opposite effect. That what happened is that Apex was always good, but didn't add a bunch of new stuff. So the people that kept playing it all the time started to think it was less and less good because they were getting more and more burnt out on it. And then those people would talk to people like me and they'd be like, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of good. And so then when the people like me that liked it go back for season two, they're like, wait a minute, this game's amazing. This game isn't bad like people were implying.
Like, it was never bad, but when you play the same map and have the same game balance over and over again, it does get super monotonous. And, like, it is fun, but also, like, it feels like there's nothing there, also.
Yeah, I guess what about season two is exciting you then? Because I mean, the thing that excites me is I'm a pea brain and I want bars to fill and I want like goals to shoot for. Honestly, it's because I like having something to work towards, even if I know I'm not good enough to reliably get like a top place. Like I like exiting around and feeling like, you know what? I did pretty garbage, but at least I did 100 of the 1,000 damage with the R99 that I needed, so it wasn't a total waste. So, is that what you get out of it in loving season two, or is there more coming from
There's.
a player who's played a
Okay,
lot?
there's a lot more. And I don't think one of you guys has headphones on or something, because I hear myself sometimes. Um, But I would say the biggest things I really like are the gun balance changes and the fact that the map is a lot different because they moved the dinosaurs into the map and they're stomping around and buildings are broken and they added new buildings and new loot areas and stuff like that. Um, the new legend entirely changes up the meta by being very defensive and anti aggression, which is super cool. And she recharges shields, which I really like. Um, and like adding the hop ups to the earlier guns to make them interesting is really cool. Adding energy mags for energy guns is really cool. That's that's the stuff I really like in addition to the meters. That's why I really like Apex right now.
I I guess from the perspective of somebody that hasn't played that much, it seems like the map isn't super different, but maybe it's different in subtle ways for someone that was really, really familiar.
There are stomping dinosaurs in the middle of the map. I don't know how you
Yeah,
don't
that
think that's
definitely wasn't
different.
there before.
They added flying dinosaurs. I don't know what they. I think they just call them flyers, and you can shoot them out of the sky, and they drop crates now. So if you land in an area like wetlands, you know, like we've been doing the last couple days, you can shoot one of those dinosaurs down and get like a purple helmet and armor, and you're good to go. Um, they did add new buildings that maybe you haven't seen because we haven't really gone there much, but there's some different looking buildings with stuff in them now, and different areas have better loot, and different areas are just different now.
Hmm. To me, the dinosaurs felt aesthetic, but it doesn't matter because Apex is amazing. Um, and I hope we get to play together more soon. Our two schedules line up the worst of like anyone's, so it's nice when it does work out where we can actually play.
Well, maybe that'll change in the coming month.
Why, Dan? Why would that change?
I don't know, Noah. What's happening?
I'm moving. That's what's happening for me. I don't know what's happening for you.
I'm buying a house, and some loser from Fairbolt is moving in with me.
That's gonna be exciting.
It will.
I've essentially given up on the job I have right now. Like I walk into work and just kind of like get the stuff done and leave. There is no effort. There is no like worrying about like, oh man, I need to make sure they like me so I keep my job. It's like if you fire me, like whatever, I just get 2 extra weeks of vacation here.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Yep.
do want the money.
That's fair. Yeah,
Please
you
don't
kind of need
fire
it,
me, people.
right?
Dan, I feel like you're really underselling the fact that you bought a house.
Maybe. I
You're
mean,
you're only going to do that a handful of times in your life.
maybe only once. Who knows? I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. But yeah, I bought a house. That's big news for me. Um, I don't close until the end of the month, so technically I don't own it yet, but they're in a hurry to sell it, so I don't think it'll fall through. I just have to spend some money to fix some things before we move in.
Does your house have a game room?
I mean, it has a big basement.
You should have just said every room is a
I
game room.
mean, obviously, I figured that was just a given.
Including the bathroom should be a game room. I better come to your house on your housewarming and after if you invite me. And I better sit down in that bathroom and there better be some Nintendo powers on the back of that toilet tank.
I'll have to
Preferably a Game Boy
find some.
Advance SP with Legend of Zelda Four Swords and Link's Awakening.
Yeah, and it'll hook up to the basement bathroom so that the people in both bathrooms can play at the same time.
Dude, imagine poop gaming together in that house.
Just grab our Switches, run in there, away we go.
Oh, speaking of the Nintendo Switch Lite, I kind of
Yeah,
want to get at some point.
I mean, I don't use mine on the go enough to warrant buying one, I guess, at the moment. So for me, it's not like it's kind of whatever at the moment.
I know that this is a tired comparison, but like the Switch Lite is really just a Vita.
Yeah,
Like
it really is.
it is 100% just a PlayStation Vita. Like there's no distinguishing factors at this point.
Nope.
So, I mean that makes me like the idea of
Yeah,
the
well, it doesn't
Switch.
have a touch screen on the back of it, does it?
No, but I mean functionally the Vita barely did either. It did
It's
for
true.
launch games and like every now and again Uncharted or something would make you like blow or scrape dust off
Uh,
of a statue. But
PS PS1 games, you'd use the back for like the R2 and L2 uh
oh,
buttons.
that makes sense. Um, but yeah, so for anyone that isn't aware, the Switch Lite was just announced and it's a Nintendo Switch, but the Joy-Cons are no longer detachable, so it's permanently in handheld mode.
Yeah, you can't, it's
And
smaller, so you can't dock it either. I don't think.
oh, have they like announced how much smaller it is?
I watched the video, like I skipped through the video because I was really busy at work today, so I didn't really
Same.
have time. But no, I didn't see.
They didn't do like a size comparison in the video, did they?
Not that I saw.
Okay.
Like they kind of were like, yeah, here you can't use like the rumble feature anymore because that's not there. But yeah, I didn't see one, but there might have been one and I just missed it.
Hmm. Okay. So yeah, it is a slightly smaller Switch with non-detachable Joy-Cons. And in order to cut some additional costs, they took out some of the other features that don't really make sense if the Joy-Cons can't come off. So the HD
Yeah.
rumble's out, the IR sensor is out.
Yeah, so you
Um,
can't play like 1-2 switch
yep.
with that. You
And
can still connect Joy-Cons to it though, I believe.
yeah, so any of those games could be played if you purchase additional Joy-Cons. And so then because of all that, it's coming out at a price of $200 rather than $300.
Hmm.
And it's coming in what I think are some very sexy color choices. I like both the yellow and the turquoise.
Yeah, those are good looking colors. Yeah, it depends on how much smaller it is, I guess, and maybe if I could get one on sale or if there's like a bundle with a future game that I really want, then maybe I'll pick that up, but
What I'm
it's
really
hard to
interested
say.
in, I'm actually pretty sold on the idea of it. I think it's cool.
Right.
Honestly, I would like to get one almost so I can like have the Switch Lite and then never have to undock the Switch.
That's a good point. But then you have to switch your cartridges.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I don't know how transferring games works between the two, so I might still end up not doing that. But
If they're tied to your account, then it might not be a problem. And like with the 3DS, transferring save data was a non-issue because you just put the card in, like you'd put the SD card in your computer and copy paste the save data over to the new thing, and you're done.
Mm,
So it'll probably work like that, where you could just pop the SD card out and put it in the micro SD or whatever is in that thing.
okay. Yeah, that would be nice. Um, and then the other thing I really want to learn is whether or not the screen is going to be improved at all. Because I personally, maybe it's because I play the Vita still somewhat regularly. I don't love the Switch's screen in handheld mode.
Hmm.
It's like it seems kind of like faded or like just a little bit blown out or something. Um, it's not nearly as nice as the original model Vita screens are.
Right.
So I'm hoping,
I don't. It's not. It's definitely not like an OLED screen. The Vitas might have been OLEDs.
yeah, even if it's not an OLED, I'm thinking of like the original DS to the DS Lite. I'm hoping that the
Hmm.
Switch to the Switch Lite is the same kind of like significant improvement to the screen. So
Yeah, that'd be a
if
nice bonus.
if I ever have a chance to like demo one at Best Buy or something and the screen is nicer, I would definitely consider picking one up. Um, but even if I don't, it it makes sense. Like it's a little more kid friendly. It's easier to drop that, and there's fewer parts to snap off. So I think it's a good move for them either way. I mean, their Nintendo stock shot up when they announced it, so
Hmm.
obviously a lot of people think that it's a good move.
Yeah, there's definitely one thing when I'm using my Switch in handheld mode is I feel like a little nervous, like picking it up sometimes, if I'm holding it like with one hand for a little bit, like, oh, how much pressure am I putting on the track for the Joy Cons? Am I gonna bend this? Is it gonna break? Something like
Yeah,
that.
when you're holding yours, do you kind of get the feeling like it would be like those the Joy-Cons aren't super secure, like they almost want to bend back a little bit?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It feels fragile in my hands. And so, yeah, this would solve that problem for sure. You're totally right. Noah, you buying one?
Probably not immediately, but like we have a Switch at this house, but it's not mine, so I won't be bringing it. And like most of the games I play are in mode anyway.
The one thing that's kind of a bummer that I just remembered is I think they announced some details about the battery life, and it's like basically the same as the Switch's battery life. Like they say the Switch is like 2.5 to 6.5 hours of potential battery, and they said the Switch Lite is 3 to 7 hours of potential battery. So you're getting a bonus 30 minutes.
Woo.
And yeah, it would have been nice if they used like if they're I don't know how the internals are set up, but if some of that extra space freed up by removing extra parts could have been used for a bigger battery, that would have been nice.
Yeah, but at the same time, the whole unit is smaller, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's cool. I like it.
yeah, it's a good move.
Yeah, and so there was rumors a while back of them announcing a Switch Mini is what the rumor was calling it at the time. So what we now know is the Switch Lite. And then they were also talking about a more powerful version of the Switch.
Yeah, maybe that'll be like a always docked Switch. But if it's going to be more powerful, it'll have to be bigger, right? So they'll have to buy a new dock.
No. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they sell a more powerful Switch. I also heard a lot of
Yeah,
people saying that it was like the Switch Lite is the end of the 3DS. What do
it
you what
wouldn't
do you feel about that?
that doesn't surprise me at all, honestly.
I mean, are there even any announced 3DS games left? I thought
No,
Persona Q2 was the last one, right?
I
Didn't we
think
talk about
yeah,
that
Persona
before?
Q2 is definitely the last one that I'm aware of, anyway.
Hmm. Sad to see it go. Pour one out for the 3DS. But yeah, that's exciting. Um, what else we got going on? Well, Dan, what's up with Final Fantasy 14?
Well, yeah, I suppose I played it the most out of the three of us here. Um, the story is amazing. The new classes, I've only played Gunbreaker. Um, Dancer looks really fun. It does a lot of damage from what I've seen. They have like a 1,000 or 1,500 potency attack at max level, which is insane for that game. Normally, like before, I think the highest potency attack that I ever saw was like 700 or 800.
Is it like super conditional or something? How can they get away with it just being twice as strong?
Uh, I don't know the condition on it because I haven't played um the class, but I think it's like a proc. Like it plays a lot like Bard does, apparently, where you have you hit some buttons and then when you're hitting those buttons it might proc other buttons for you to hit and then it kind of does that. So I think if the right set of things proc, then you get to use the super attack. I don't know if there's like a massive cooldown on it or anything though.
Do you know what the attack's name is? Because I played a little bit of Dancer.
No, unfortunately I don't. I just know when I was leveling with my friend he leveled Dancer from 60 to 70 with me and then he switched to Machinist. But he would do the dance attack and then the mob's health would drop by like 30%. So, and it
Dang.
was AoE too, I think. So it was kind of silly. But the dungeons are good. So one of them is really funny. With like the layout of it, kind of looks like a golf course, like a mini golf course when you start on it. Um, the zones were put together really well. They did that kind of split thing again, where you do half of a zone and then you leave and then you come back later at like high level to finish the zone. They did that for two zones. The other three were either all mid level or like end level, like 78 to 80. But
That's pretty cool.
yeah, they had a lot of good twists. Gunbreaker is really fun as a tank class because it has like this combo setup where you'll use the first part of it and then it'll trigger an off global attack and you use the off global attack while the global's finishing and then you use the second part of that chain and then it triggers another off global attack and you just do that so you have six attacks in three globals and it's just a bunch of explosions and crazy shit happening while you're doing that. And there's lots of people dressed up as Squall because they give you the pre-order came with a gunblade, like Squall's gunblade, glamour, and a while back they gave out the Squall outfit for glamour.
Of course.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a couple people that were just like the normal human guys, and they put the same scar on their face and everything. They went all in on it. I'm like, oh geez.
I mean, that's one of those things where it's like cool if you like it, but it's like the world's most unoriginal idea.
Right, exactly. Like I mean, I used the Squall out for it for a little bit too, but then I just switched to other stuff. Um, Eventually, as I like replaced the pieces that I had already glamored to it. So they increased the glamour like chest thing that you have in your in room to hold 400 items now, I think. So you use glamour prisms to put them in the chest and then you make a glamour plate where it's just like, oh, I want this entire outfit to be a plate, like a preset. And then whenever you're in a major city, you can open up that glamour plate and just apply it to your gear, and it doesn't use glamour prisms or anything.
So
But
just making it so you can do more glamours more often, essentially.
yeah, they make it easier to like re-glamour sets if you're replacing stuff. Especially it was nice when you're leveling because you're like, oh, I replaced like four pieces. I don't have to spend four glamour prisms to re-glamour it. I just go to town and poof. All right, all my gears switched back to the glamour I picked out.
Hmm.
And I think it keeps. I don't remember if it keeps dyes and stuff. I didn't check that. I don't think it does. I think it just glamours whatever onto it, and then you can dye it afterwards. But
It's awesome that
yeah.
they're just like willing to let you do that because now they know the game's been out longer. There's more stuff you want to play around with.
Yeah, and it takes it out of your inventory too. So like you don't have like a pile of items in your inventory that you just use for glamour purposes. to
That
help
that's
save
super nice.
inventory space. Yeah.
I saw like a meme or an image online earlier today that was saying that Final Fantasy XIV is like the world's greatest redemption story, and it had a screenshot of all the Metacritic reviews of like every Final Fantasy XIV version. So
Yeah.
the original version's like a 49 out of 100, and
Yeah, it
then
was pretty
Reborn was
bad.
like 80, then it was like 84, 89, and 91 or something for this latest one because everyone says this latest one's awesome. Like the game just
Yeah.
keeps getting better and better and better.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, some people say that like Stormblood wasn't very good. Um,
I
but
am some people.
yeah, I mean, and that's fine. Like, I just don't. I didn't play enough Stormblood to really form too much of an opinion, although I do kind of agree that some of it was kind of boring.
I feel like it's pretty telling that you didn't play it, possibly because it was kind of boring.
I mean, there's that, but also all of you stopped playing it too, so it was like
Because it
I don't
was
have
kind
much
of
of a reason.
boring.
I didn't have much of a reason to play, so. But yeah, it is what it is. But overall, I think it's definitely been improving a lot, which is nice.
Would you say this is the best expansion?
Yes, I would say so. So
I
far,
I
anyway. I mean, we're
agree.
barely into it, but yeah. Hopefully, they don't mess anything up. But yeah, I mean, other than 14, I've been playing. I finished Bloodstained. I'm pretty sure we all played Bloodstained, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Did we all finish it?
Yep.
I did. I didn't get 100%. I only got 99.4.
Oh, the map.
Yeah.
I got 100% because there was like a room or two that I finally found on a map. Like I found a map, and then in the comments on the map, I found the other rooms I was missing because even the map was incomplete somehow, even though it said 100%. Because I think it used to go up to 101%, and then in one of the patches they must have changed something, so it stops at 100%.
Interesting. What
Yeah.
what were your thoughts on it? What were your thoughts on Bloodstained?
Um, I thought it was really good for like a Castlevania game. The I'm trying to think. There were definitely a lot of broken things that I figured out while I was playing it that made it quite a bit easier, I think. Um, with like certain like combos and stuff like that one weapon where you could just run forever, you know? Like you know what that weapon is.
Yeah,
Um,
did you ever upgrade that to the second version?
I did not, but I didn't really need to because I at that point in the game I had switched to different weapons.
Oh man. When you upgrade that to the like stronger version of it, it becomes essentially like a Chrysogrim from Symphony of the Night. Every time
Yeah,
you press attack, it attacks 4 times.
yeah,
And you can
jeez,
still like run and move while you're attacking. And it's
yeah,
not that much weaker than other swords in the game. It was so broken. Like I fought the last boss, I died. Then I went and explored the map and crafted that weapon, and then I came back and I just absolutely obliterated him.
yeah. I got to the last boss. I died. I went back. I did the same thing. I explored the map. Uh, I ended up using the sword from one of the bandit sword at the end because it was the strongest thing I could make
Hmm.
or have at the time. And like I was working on some of the other weapons, like the ones where you have to make the three other weapons to make the final weapon or whatever. Because I was just farming like weapon use experience or whatever it was called, the techniques. Um, but I got all the techniques for like the regular swords and I think katanas. I finished that one too because I used katanas for a little while after they give you uh the story one near the end.
Hmm.
But um, what was y'all's favorite enemy in the game? There were a lot of them.
Um,
Shovel Knights, probably.
Shovel
Shovel
Knights are
Knights.
good. Yeah,
I mean, that was the one that I got most excited when I saw.
sure.
I appreciate the fact that Shovel Knight makes a cameo in like every game that's
Yeah,
ever been
like
made.
tons of indie games and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even not indie ones. I really liked the skeletal enemies when you killed them and they just like went ooh because it was so loud. I laughed every time like I killed them.
My my least favorite enemies were the dog and cats that were very clearly Kickstarter backer rewards. Like they didn't make any sense. They didn't fit in with the world at all.
Oh, like the giant headless or the giant heads
The
or
giant
the
puppy head or like the giant cat that would be
like
blocking a hallway.
the demon cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were kind of I never got I got some of the items from them, but yeah, I didn't really kill too many of them. I just like killed them and kept going. One thing that did get me a lot in the game was when the like there's no iframes, very few, like when you would take damage. So sometimes you could just get stuck in enemies and take a bunch of damage. Uh, like
Mm.
there's no like you if you were jumping and something ran into you, you wouldn't always fly back either. You'd just fall down or get uh knocked back. I guess there's no knockback from taking damage, and that's what I was expecting to happen most of the time.
Yeah, it did for me. It usually wasn't an issue after like the first third of the game, because after the first third or so, once you kind of like find a shard you like, a weapon you like, and you upgrade them a little bit, I
Yeah.
felt like the game got pretty easy.
Oh yeah, it was definitely like at that point it was very easy. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
And like it ramps the difficulty back up a little bit towards the end, but in general, I think it's a pretty easy game. Wasn't
Yeah,
too
there
bad.
was like the long stretches with no uh like save rooms in between them sometimes got kind of dicey. Um, but I only got kind of stuck the one time after I killed the boss and had to go through a place near the beginning, and I'm just like I didn't even think about it because I walked past. I'm like, oh, I need to swim through this, and then I just blanked it. I wrote it out of my memory as a possible course of action. So it was my own dumb fault.
Yeah, I think that there were two times that I didn't know where to go. One of them was that. One of them was the um
The water thing.
the identification card. Like I forgot needing to go
Oh,
back to that NPC.
yeah.
Um,
I remembered that at least, so I went back for him.
yeah, I didn't. And then the other one is it took me a long time to figure out where the I don't want to like it's kind of a later game thing, so I don't want to spoil it. But one of the later upgrades that unlocks most of the castle
Hmm.
leads you to getting a piece of armor that you need to equip to be able to go through certain areas.
Dude, I was lost on that for like 2 to 3 hours. It was
S-
brutal.
Same.
Is it the one that you got from the tower that lets you
Yeah.
walk on things?
Yeah, and I don't feel like they did much to lead you in that direction, and it's like in
What part are
kind
you
of a
talking? 'Cause
weird
I couldn't think
spot.
about where you would need that specifically to get through anywhere.
I thought you needed it to get through. There's like a towards the beginning of the game, at the top of that really tall room, there's a section at the top that you needed to get through.
Oh, yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then that's where I got stuck probably the longest. It was just like kind of random.
Dude, can I say a few words here?
Yeah.
I went there and like mapped it and like I don't know if I just did
You
it
just
so
missed the
fast.
chest.
Yeah, if I don't know if I just did it so
Oh
fast
no.
and I was like, "Oh, that's whatever." Cuz like I don't know if it was the perspective was off or if I was just a dumb idiot, but like I mapped that and didn't see anything. So then I left and like
Oh no.
I just could not find anything. I was not sure what I was supposed to do. It was just a bad time.
Oof. Yeah, that's rough.
Maybe you did the thing where you like double jump up to fill in that map square and then never think about it again?
Possibly, but it was right after you get that
The up
ability.
down, the up downy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely did like 2 laps after I got that ability to try and find everything that I might have missed.
Did you guys find the upgrades on top of the castle door when you first enter the castle?
I don't remember if I went back, but I think I
I
saw
don't think I
them
ever
maybe.
went back out there.
That was like
What?
a neat little surprise. Like if you hit the switch to close the door back up, you can jump on the
Mhm.
door and right above it is where some upgrades are.
Oh, that's cool.
Huh.
I like that. No, what do you think of the game in general?
It was easy from like the first moment. Like it did not take me a third of the way to the game to get through it. Um, but that's because I think I started the game like just trying to get shards and stuff, and so I accumulated enough money to get the third tier of boots. And I think
Oh, that's
I
right. You're a
never
boot
touched
boy.
the weapons you guys did. I never not wore boots. Like it makes the jumping on enemies do the same amount of damage. So you are almost
Oh,
invincible because you can dodge like everything by just being above people and like
interesting.
kill them.
Yeah, I didn't like how they handled, so I just went with the swords.
Um,
Yeah, same.
so there's a boss that gives you a power. It's like the second boss. And there's like a block in his room, and you can just kill the boss on the other side of the block. Did you guys do that?
Are you talking about the stained
Uh,
glass one?
Yeah.
he was super easy. I don't think I even needed that.
I didn't
Is that like a
either, but I
is
ended
that like
up
a
doing
cheese
it.
thing?
It's totally a cheese thing, I guess.
The only cheese thing I did was using that armor we talked about on the boss in the room with all the chips.
The lag boss,
Yeah, the lag boss.
the frame rate boss. Yeah,
Yeah, I went
I did the
upside
same
down.
thing, and
Yeah,
it made it like pitifully easy.
yeah. I wonder if they really intended for that, but yeah, didn't
I
really
don't know
matter to
what
me.
boss you're talking about.
It was in the giant area.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure. I just bounced on his head. That's like how I beat
I mean,
everything.
that's. I guess the only boss I didn't kill was the secret boss. Uh, where if you have the certain items checked out, like borrowed.
Yeah, I fought him once to like see him, and I didn't beat him first try, and then I was like, I don't know if I care enough to try again.
Can I spoil it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After you beat him, okay, spoilers for Bloodstained, anybody listening. Um, you go back, and he's there, and he's wearing like a Waluigi mustache, and you're like, I thought I killed you, and he's like, I'm a vampire, like this is what I do. And he's like, you beat me, so I'm your slave. You can check out any book, so you get to check out all the books and get all the perks.
Oh gosh. Okay, that's funny.
Just as soon as you don't need it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know why he's wearing the mustache, but it was funny.
That is good. So, so you thought the game was easy. You used boots. What'd you think of the game overall? Like, was it fun? Did you enjoy it? Have you played Symphony of the Night? What do you think of it in comparison?
Okay, I've played all. I don't think I played all the Castlevanias with backtracking or all the Castlevanias in general. I played Symphony of the Night. I still think that's the best iteration, and Bloodstained was fine. I it seemed like okay. I'm gonna be like a dumb, like opinionated nerd here. It like they went through and they're like, people say our game looks bad, so then they redid everything, right? And they made everything better. But it felt like
Mhm.
sometimes the game wasn't updated in areas. Like the
Yes.
sky looked absolutely disgusting sometimes.
Yes. Parts of that game do not, in my opinion, do not look that good. There are certain backgrounds that don't. Oh my God, the characters and like their
Oh
animations when they
yeah.
talk
Oh man, they're
are
rough.
straight up from a PS2 game. Like
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
it's so bad. And I think the voice acting is bad, although I think that might have been intentional. But it the dialogue did not do it for me either. Any interaction with characters, I was not super wild about.
Nonplussed about, yeah.
So there was that part where you cross on that horse and carriage, right?
Where
And it
he's
does
this
it does like the
God.
cinematic zoom in for like 1 second to something that doesn't look great, and then like I don't know what they were trying to convey there. Like, oh, look at this beautiful scenery, but it was so short and not good looking. So I don't know. I don't know what the stats there are. I don't know what the deal was.
I so I've played every Symphony of the Night style Castlevania game with the exception of Order of Ecclesia. I've never played that.
Wow. Like probably
And
one of my favorites.
I've heard it's really good. I'm actually very excited to play it. And I think that Bloodstained is worse than all of them.
I would agree with that,
Like
honestly.
when I first started Bloodstained, so I will start this by saying that I actually liked the game. And I think that the game has a strong second half. But when I started it, I was like, the animations in this game look kind of ugly. That the running feels weird. Like
hmm
it just felt like it had some jank. I wasn't immediately like, "Oh my god, look at this game!" Like you would be with Symphony of the Night. And yeah, like as I was playing it, I was like, "This is fun," but it's missing something that Symphony had. And I think it might just be a problem of it's hard to try to emulate one of the like most universally acclaimed games of all time because you have a very
hmm
high bar and
Yeah.
you're probably not going to meet it. Um, I think some of the later abilities that you get are really cool and were very surprising and made exploring very fun. Um, but yeah, I just kind of thought that it was a pretty good game. It felt like Ukulele. Like how Ukulele felt compared to Banjo Kazooie is how Bloodstained felt compared to its contemporaries.
I don't know if I agree with that, because like I got tired of ukulele, but I didn't get tired of Bloodstained. I just played it all the way through and it was fine. But it definitely is missing something.
I kind of started tired of Bloodstained and got less tired as it went on. Like it had to convince me to keep playing and eventually did. I also really I know that it's emulating Symphony of the Night, but man, I wish the run speed was faster. I immediately started wearing the stuff that improves your run speed.
Yeah, same.
I jumped and dove kick once I started getting it, like everywhere I went.
Yeah, I give the game like a solid 7 to an 8. And I feel kind of bad because this game has like every single person ever has been like this is the modern masterpiece. It is the second coming of Symphony of the Night. And I
Oof.
just like I don't see that level of praise.
I
I
don't
see
either.
I see it as like a solid game. If this had no Castlevania DNA, like if I was just like this is yet another Castlevania Metroid style game compared to all the other ones, I would be like Hollow Knight and Ori and the Blind Forest both blow this game out of the water. But like considering its lineage, I do still think it's fun. I don't want to like strictly crap on the game. Like I said, it's a solid 8, but it didn't meet my very high expectations in some areas.
I think what I told Pat and Joe Wade is I really liked the game, but I don't think it was worth $40 and all that wait. Like, one of those things should have gone.
I think it was worth 40. I don't think it was worth a 4-year wait. I mean, it's a little hard because I usually don't care how long a game takes to come out because there's always so many other games to play. But yeah, it was fun. Maybe not 4-year wait fun.
All right. So now, what do we want to talk about on this
You
podcast
guys have
about video
played
games?
anything else?
The
Um,
Messenger.
huh? Yeah, Noah's been doing some runs.
I upgraded to linear route. and I've been doing some of those and getting really upset at some of the runs that are just not good.
What is linear, Noah?
So, for those of you that don't know the Messenger, it essentially plays like a Ninja Gaiden, and then about halfway in, or maybe like a third, depending on how long the second part takes you, it switches over to like a Metroid style game where you do a lot of backtracking and you can go freely throughout the map. Um, and oh man, it's the game is just broken up into so many categories. There's an 8-bit category that I would run, and it was like the NES, style visuals. And then it switches over to 16-bit Super Nintendo style visuals. And then after a little bit after that, it switches over to the Metroid style gameplay. Um, so 8-bit just does the 8-bit NES stuff, and then Linear does 8-bit, and then a little bit of the um, SNES type stuff until it switches over to the Metroid. So essentially, it adds about 10 minutes to the run, which isn't a lot, but it's an upgrade in a different route and category. So I've been finding it to be a little more fun. Adds a couple bosses in a couple areas. And I've been streaming at twitch.tv/Nornsy. Go watch me.
Okay. I think I've said this before, but Noah is not good at promoting himself. He always says it like it's a joke, but you should legitimately go watch and follow him because he is very entertaining to watch speedrun. If I was not his friend, I would become his friend because his stream is entertaining.
Thank you. I disagree some days, but some days I would agree that yes, I'm entertaining and fun and good to watch.
Very much so. Very much so.
Dan, you said you played more games?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I finished Trails of Cold Steel, I think, the last time we talked. This time I finally started the second one, and I got through the primary game, but the epilogue is like 2 hours. So it's like a whole nother chapter. So I haven't gone to finish that yet because it's like this big, massive, annoying dungeon. Um, but I'm pretty much ready for the third one in September, whenever I think it's mid-September that comes out. So super pumped for that. Um, I think what else? I picked up Super Robot Wars T for PS4 because it was cheap at one, like a little cheaper, definitely cheaper than the Switch version. Um, but buying the Asia region one gives you English text. So those games always looked fun, but I never like imported any of them or found like ROMs of any of them. They've been around forever. There's like 120 games in the frickin' series. It's crazy. Um, but I barely like I played like the tutorial or something, and then you guys were playing Apex, so I like joined you or something like that. But that's kind of about it for me.
All right. Before we switch to Steve, I do have other games and stuff I've been playing. Um, so Final Fantasy 14, I have been playing, and I've been playing Machinist, and they absolutely fixed almost everything about it. It is almost the perfect job that it should have been from the start. They just have to do the same thing to Blue Mage, and I'll probably be really happy.
Good luck with that.
Shut up. I know. I really want them to fix it and make it not a limited job. Um, but the Machinist, I think, is supposed to do the most damage out of the three range DPS, and then Bard is like the middle ground, and then Dancer has the most utility. But right now, Machinist isn't. Its personal DPS doesn't make up for its lack of utility, which is really bad, which is really weird, too. Um, so the range DPS are supposed to get like utility but less damage because they don't have to be up in the enemy's face and dodge point blank AoEs and stuff. And they don't have cast time, so it's a lot easier to do your damage consistently. Um, but Machinist only has like one ability that reduces damage by 10% for 10 seconds, and it's on like a 3-minute cooldown, and it's really disappointing. Like I like the utility and the party helping thing, and that's why I played range DPS and why I liked Machinist, even though it doesn't have as much utility as the other two. Um, but so far, it's a lot of fun. There's a burst phase, and it doesn't rely on RNG anymore, so you can consistently do your damage.
Yeah,
Um,
because you can like put yourself in overheat or something like that.
yeah, so they used to have overheat, and it would make it so you do a little bit more damage, but then you can't use your Gauss barrel, which essentially reduces your damage for like the next 10 seconds. So it was like a problem to actually overheat. But with the new Machinist, you want to overheat because it gives you access to a new ability that reduces your cooldowns of your off globals by half. And you have two of them. So you're going to hit that, you're going to hit one, you're going to hit that thing again, you're going to hit the other one, and you're going to hit that, and then you're going to hit the other one, then you hit that one, and you're going to hit the other one. And it eventually all adds up to really good damage. Plus, people were complaining about Machinist not being very much of a machinist and more of a gun class. And I think what they did is they just made him or made Machinist a lot more like Edward from Final Fantasy VI and gave him
Awesome.
Bioblaster and Drill Shot and Auto Crossbow.
And flamethrower.
He had Flamethrower, but
Oh,
um, pretty much what they gave the Machinist is stuff Edward had, and I think that's a really cool move. They're
yeah,
still
it's good
guns,
throwback.
but I think it's cool. Um, I have been very slowly playing that game because Apex has been eating up time. Streaming the Messenger has been eating up time. Um, but on another note, since I'm gonna be moving next month, I've been trying to save my money and not spend it stupidly. And my brother has a capture card for he has the Elgato or whatever, and the audio's weird. So you need like is it analog, like non USB? Is that called analog, or is that just? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you need one in order to hook it up to a splitter so that the audio goes from both the PS4 to your headphones and the PS4 to your computer. So you can hear the game and your computer can capture the game's sound. Um, and I was like, man, I really don't want to buy a headset for that. But it turns out the SteelSeries guys make an extension for the headset I use for $7 that just makes it manual or analog. So I just bought one of those. So Final Fantasy 14 streams maybe soon. I'm not sure.
Nice.
Possibly
Awesome.
basketball. I also played Kingdom Rush on mobile, which is just a tower defense game, and it's free, and it's pretty fleshed out and fun for like a free mobile game. There's no like gotcha or anything. There's jewels or diamonds or gems or whatever you want to call them, which is like a premium currency, and you can get them just by beating stages, or you can buy them, or you can watch ads, and then those buy like little upgrades to help get you through a level if you're having trouble. I never needed them, but I bought stuff to use them, and that's pretty good. Uh, and then I have the Google Rewards thing installed on my phone, so I just spent $1 of that on Kingdom Rush Origins, which is essentially that game but with elves and different maps and stuff, which is really cool. Um, and that's what I've been playing now. I'm not done with it, but I like that stuff. That stuff is pretty good. Pretty good for a free game. God, I don't.
Unlike Dr. Mario World, which is apparently hot garbage
I hear bad
from all
things,
the
and I saw
reports.
I saw low numbers.
Yeah.
I might try it just to see what the hot garbage is all about. Um,
Well, good luck.
but I think that's what I've been playing for the most part. I haven't been playing too much else. So, Steve, it's your turn to say all the games you've been playing.
Uh, I mean, there's a ton because we are recording for the first time in a month, so I don't think I can realistically get to all of them, but I'll touch on a chunk of the ones that are relevant. So obviously the last couple of days I've been playing Apex with everybody, and I am very excited to be playing Apex again. That game is very fun. Uh, I went out the other day and so Games Done Quick happened during this break. Summer Games Done Quick 2019, which, as a side note, was one of the better Games Done Quick events in recent memory. Something about it was, for me, a very fun watch. Um, and part of that was that they had a really cool Kaizo Mario block where there were a couple of different Kaizo Mario games. And so after Games Done Quick, I went out to the store because I was going to pick up another game that I'll talk about. And I ended up impulse purchasing Super Mario Maker 2 so that I could basically play hard levels that people made online. And I had the first Mario Maker. I bought it and I didn't really play it a whole lot. I played it for like a day or two, and that was it. I don't really have any desire to create levels, so I ended up just poking around online. And that's the same thing that I've done with Super Mario Maker 2, but I I've had more fun with it this time. So all I'm really doing is just hopping online, downloading, checking out either popular levels or random levels, or going onto Twitter and like following some of the speedrunners that were doing the Kaizo stuff and getting level suggestions from them. And so, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Uh, Noah, talk about GDQ for 1 sec.
Sure. So, they did have like a Mario Maker 2 wasn't out at the time, but they did have like God, what was it? Was it Grand Poo World 2? Was that one of the ones? Um,
I don't remember.
It had a weird name. Maybe Grand Pro World 2. Grand Poo World 2 was in there, but then there was something that was like Indecence or something like that. I don't remember.
Invictus?
Invictus.
Yeah. Was that the one Barb made?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, both of the Kaizo levels, they had the creators there on the couch.
Okay. So I really liked Invictus. It was a very themed Kaizo world. For anybody who doesn't know, Super Mario World had a ROM hack a long time ago called Kaizo Mario World, which is essentially Brutal Mario World or Hell Mario World or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the exact translation is. And so people played that and they really liked that, and so they started making other Mario World ROM hacks that were also difficult, and like it became like a big thing in the speedrunning community because you'd run Super Mario World and then you'd want something tougher and you'd go to like Super Panga World or Grand Poo World or Super Dram World or whatever, these other hacks that were made difficult. And something really cool about Invictus was how much effort the uh, developer, I guess you want to call him, made. He had, like, at the end of every level, like, one of them ends with Mario going down a slope onto sand. And so the next world would be like a beach. And then you'd do the beach, and then you'd head into a cave, and the next world would be a cave, which not even Mario World did. So they really kept up with a lot of theming, and there were a lot of like false exits that would lead to like pictures of other creators, and I don't know. I thought it was really cool. Lots of tricks and different stuff that you don't even see in Mario Maker 2, like how certain uh, conveyor belts, not conveyor belts, like tracks that you can put enemies and stuff on work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really liked it. So I also, I didn't buy Mario Maker 2. I downloaded a couple of ROM hacks that I still have yet to play. Um, and one of them was Grand Poo World 2. And so I'm excited to try them out at some point.
You should definitely stream that when you do. The So I followed one of the people in that scene goes by the name Penjia Panga, and I followed him in Super Mario Maker 2 and playing his levels. Like I can get nowhere in those levels. They make Kaizo look easy, not easy, but they make it look like doable when you watch a speedrun. But oh man, learning those levels is so hard. So I've ended up not playing like the true Kaizo levels in Mario Maker 2, kind of like the baby Kaizo or like the hard-ish levels. But just the idea of playing challenging Mario is very appealing to me right now. So I've been playing that. I also picked up at the same time Judgment, which is the latest game from the studio that did the Yakuza games. And essentially, Judgment is just the setting and combat of a Yakuza game with some of the trappings of like a detective mystery story. So they've added some additional mechanics on top of the Yakuza games where you are like tailing people or presenting evidence or finding evidence in crime scenes, stuff like that. But other than that, it still kind of has the soul and the spirit of a Yakuza game, and the story still involves the Yakuza like individuals within the city, and the city is the same Kamurocho that you've been playing in the other Yakuza games. So it's very, very familiar if you're a fan of Yakuza, but it is also just fresh enough to where it feels like its own thing and doesn't feel like just a retread of those other games. So that's been a real treat to be playing, and I am going to be sad to see it over, but there's still plenty of game left there. So that's kind of like my main thing right now. Other than that, I played through a VR game on PlayStation VR called Trover Saves the Universe, which is
Okay, wait. Just don't spoil the ending. I have played a chunk of it, but not all of it.
oh, okay. I won't. This is, correct me if I get the name wrong here, Noah. It's a game created or written by Justin Roiland,
Yep.
um, who is one of the creators of Rick and Morty. And I mean, it 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 walks like a Rick and Morty. It talks like a Rick and Morty. Like it's very much that sense of humor. Um, Same voice actors and stuff. So, um, yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of Rick and Morty, you'd be a fan of this game. Pretty funny game. Pretty entertaining. Actually plays pretty well. Plays a little bit like almost like an Astrobot, but in a 3D environment. You hop to locations and then you control a character in a pretty similar way to Astrobot. And it took me a while to get all the way through it, even though it's not too long of a game, just because I took a break from it for a while. And because I think my PlayStation VR has a small scratch in one of the lenses, which is really annoying. I don't know how it got there. So I'll have to figure that out. But it was a good game, and I'm glad that I played it. It was very fun. Um, how far into it are you now?
Um, I think I have to go collect eyes, possibly. I'm trying to connect the
Okay,
three dudes.
you're very close then. There's not too much left in that game, I don't really
I'm
think.
I'm gonna interrupt you here. I'm sick of like the Rick and Morty humor. I think so. Like I didn't.
Oh, you're
So
just now getting sick of it?
Yeah, it's like I wish he could make something that isn't just Rick and Morty with a different skin.
I agree with you. I will say a point that works in this game's favor for me is that I've never watched Rick and Morty. Like I've seen
That
a
probably
couple
helps.
episodes of Rick and Morty, and I'm obviously familiar with Rick and Morty because you can't exist in the world and not be. But I haven't like watched all the seasons of Rick and Morty, so it's a little more of a novel presentation to me. But if that's the case for you, then you'll probably feel the same way. Or if you're a huge fan of Rick and Morty, I mean, this is basically more of it. So some of the humor is a little bit like, I hesitate to say juvenile, but it's like not quite my brand of humor. But
My brand.
my brand, whoa. But some of it does stick pretty well. But it's actually a really good VR game. I would recommend it to anyone that has PlayStation VR. On top of that, what else have I been playing? Probably the biggest game other than that I want to recommend that everybody go out and check out and play is Outer Wilds. So this is on PC or on Xbox One. You can get it on Game Pass. And this is so far my favorite game that I've played this year, like hands down. It is hard to describe the game in a way that makes it sound really interesting, but it's like you have to take a little bit on faith that this game is awesome. So you play as an alien who exists on this small planet and are a member of a space exploration academy. And so the game starts with you essentially launching out into space for the first time. And when I say launch into space, I mean you get into your ship, you literally lift off into orbit, up into space, and you can fly to any planet within the solar system. You can fly directly into the sun if you want to, or you can fly out and explore any of the different planets.
I missed, what was this game called again?
Outer Wilds.
Oh yeah, I watched somebody stream that. It looked interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the game starts because you're a member of this space exploration kind of organization. They're just saying, hey, go explore the far reaches of the solar system, help us to understand the world better. And what the game does really effectively is when you start to land on these planets and poke around and explore, you'll uncover little mysteries or little interesting things that will start to like peel back the layers of what has happened and like the history of the solar system and what potential like trajectories that the universe might take. And so you'll find all kinds of mysteries, large and small. And it's just through the power of your own discovery that you learn more about how this world like plays together and interacts. So you might come across, so like for example, you might come across some old ancient alien architecture that when you discover it, you learn that they were doing experiments that involved harnessing the energy of the sun. And then you can go explore other planets to learn more about those experiments to ultimately like kind of see what the intention behind that research was. And on top of learning history about the world, you also get to learn about the mechanics of the world. You never unlock new skills or anything. All of your controls are available to you at the start of the game, but how certain things work in the world and how some of these like unfamiliar physics and things function in this universe, which are different from how they function in our real world, start to become more clear as you like play around and learn and discover. And that's like the thing I love about this game is the feeling of discovery. It feels very, very similarly to me. I get the same feeling from it as I did when I played The Witness, where the game teaches you everything without telling you anything. And like 100% of your progression and your ability to progress through the game and learn more about this world is just tied to your ability to discover, learn new information, and adapt that information to new situations. And the things you start to learn about this solar system are really awesome. And the whole game just has this like incredibly rich, deep, like clockwork world to explore and learn about. And then the big mechanic on top of all of that, which isn't really a spoiler. I guess it's a spoiler for the first half an hour of the game, so sorry. But when you start the game and start to explore the world, the after 22 minutes, the sun goes supernova, blows up, and destroys the solar system. And time then rewinds to back when you first launched your ship, and you have another 22-minute section of gameplay to go explore and learn more about the world. So you end up doing kind of these deep runs into one area to like deeply explore one thing with that time pressure constantly sort of pushing you forward and driving your actions. So it feels a little bit, it has kind of like that Majora's Mask vibe of I want to be at this place when something happens or I might miss it. And that like adds a certain level of tension to the gameplay on top of everything else that you're doing. So there's tons of little things I could describe that would give things away, but the game is, it thrives on you discovering these things for yourself and is like so rewarding in you doing that I don't want to give anything away to anyone. But yeah, Outer Wilds is not to be missed. I hope that it comes to PS4 so more people can play it, but definitely check out either the Xbox or the PC version.
Before you move on, I also played Void Bastards. When you said Outer Wilds, I thought of Giant Bombcast, or Beastcast specifically.
Yeah.
And they talk about, like, I don't remember which two, but they talk about reaching a certain point, and then since it's a roguelike, you get knocked, like, you have to start over with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget who said it, but one person was like, that made me stop wanting to play it. And the other one was like, oh, I was really excited to get back to that spot. It made me stop wanting to play it once I died.
Void Bastards did? That made you want to stop playing Void Bastards?
So
that's too bad.
I got really close to like the thing you're trying to get, and then I died. And then I was like, dude, I don't want to go through another 11 ships just to get this thing.
Oh, yeah. Is that game worth checking out? I saw a little bit about it, but I haven't gone and looked.
I didn't think it was worth the price tag. I think I paid like 20 or 30 for it. But I can't make that decision for you. You have to like look at it yourself. Maybe I'll stream it someday and you can figure it out.
I mostly want to know if you think it's fun. I think it's also on Game Pass, which I subscribe to, so I could play it for free. But it's more like in a world with a million good games to play, is it worth carving up the time for?
I don't know. I would say it's amongst good games. It's somewhere in the middle. So like it's good, but maybe not put it ahead of anything else.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll have you stream it for me so I can get a feel of how it plays. Yeah, I mean, I think that those are the big ones that I've been playing. There's a bunch of other ones that I could get into that I can just like very briefly touch on. Like I played through Cadence of Hyrule. I thought that was a pretty fun game. I'd never played Crypt of the Necrodancer before, but Cadence of Hyrule was fun.
I never actually finished it. I got to the end, like the final world, and I just never went back to finish it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not super long. You could go back and...
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like I'm pretty sure I must have been like very close to the end, and then I just like played something else and forgot about it.
Yeah. I feel like that game more than most others is one of those games where most people know whether or not they're interested already.
Right.
Based on like their experience with Crypt of the Necrodancer or how big of a Zelda fan they are. But it's fun. It's a good Zelda spin-off. I enjoyed it.
It was really fun. I did enjoy it a lot.
And then the other game that I've been playing a decent amount of to wrap it up is for my birthday, which also happened in the month while we were away. Happy birthday to me. Is Taiko no Tatsujin Drum and Fun for the Switch. So it's an import version of Taiko no Tatsujin, which for anyone that hasn't played it is a rhythm game that uses a taiko drum, and the notes you hit correspond to whether or not you are hitting the center of the taiko drum or the rim of the taiko drum, like an actual taiko drum. And the version I got comes with a actual Taiko controller that is made by Hori. And yeah, it is tons of fun. You can play some anime theme songs, some video game songs, some K and J pop songs. I have been very, very interested in Taiko for a long time. I've played it in the arcades, but I've never owned a home version. And I've just been having an absolute blast playing that game. I get very addicted to rhythm games very easy. And this one is very good. So go play it.
So my real question is, what'd you think of the Imagine Dragons DLC for Beat Saber?
I haven't downloaded it yet.
You don't have to. I already told you all you need to know.
I it's real hard for me to want to spend essentially the money to buy an Imagine Dragons album. Like my desire to buy all the Beat Saber DLC and my desire to not buy any Imagine Dragons CDs are in direct opposition to one another right now.
Alright, so I guess I'll talk about it. I
Yes.
never really listened to Imagine Dragons. I would not be able to pick them out of any other lineup of bands that sounds like them, except the song Radioactive, which is like the song. Um, it's not they're not great. They all their songs kind of sound the same, and like I would read on Reddit like, oh, the songs aren't that great, but the charts are really good. But the charts to me are all the same too. It's a lot of like just double hits and nothing really mixing it up, and it's not a lot of fun. But if you like Imagine Dragons, you'll like it, I guess. That's my honest 100% opinion review.
I will try to play it at some point here in the near future. We'll see. It's I know you understand this all too well, but these days game time is valuable and difficult to spare any extra moments of. So
It's
when
segmented
something
and scheduled, and you can't budge on the schedule because you can't give more or less time to any game. It's so bad.
Yep. And even then you're still essentially writing out the list of the 20 things you want to play and then lopping it off and only doing the top 5. So there's still a ton of stuff on the cutting room floor. And as of right now, the Imagine Dragons DLC is on the cutting room floor. Between In the Groove, Apex When I Can, Judgment, and Mario Maker, and then next week,
Dragon Quest
Dragon
Builders
Quest
2.
Builders 2 comes out. The
Oh,
week
yeah, it
after
does.
that, I think, isn't like Fire Emblem like 20 days away?
16.
16 days
It's the
away, so
26th.
Fire Emblem's coming out. I still
Don't
haven't
worry,
bought
I'm
a Plague
counting the
Tale
days.
Innocence. Sea of Sorrows just came out, which is a game I'm really interested in. I never even bought Crash Team Racing Nitro. Like, oh my, there are so many games right now. 2019 is the year of games.
Who would have guessed, based on our podcasts from earlier? Man, I don't know if anything's coming out this year.
Turns out a lot. And the second half of the year is going to be crazy too. Oh my god.
Oh, speaking of games coming out, how about that Pokemon and all of the mess surrounding that now?
What is
Ah,
there new mess that I didn't hear about?
Well, right now the hot thing is saying, criticizing their, um, the latest video that showed the corgi, the electric corgi, and a few other like the ice cream thing and whatever. They're like, oh yeah, we couldn't put the extra Pokemon in because we needed to spend a lot of time making really good animations and stuff. And then they're just like terrible. They're all awful. And the How character is just like a copy paste. Like even his animations are exactly the same. They side by sided them in this video clip I saw earlier, and they were frame for frame exactly the same.
In a perfect world, they're pulling the wool over our eyes to drop the hottest Pokemon game ever.
Uh huh.
And they're trying to create this controversy of bad graphics, like terrible animations, like no national decks or whatever, and it's gonna be amazing.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't.
okay, here's my hot take. I sympathize with people that are upset about the national decks because I understand if you've been bringing your Pokemon all the way up through all the generations that you want to like
Keep
keep
them.
having that with you.
Yeah,
And up until this point there has always been a way to bring a Pokemon from one generation to the next. It hasn't always been easy, but it is possible to go from red and blue all the way up to modern games, which is my understanding. But for me personally, I am glad that the national dex is not in there. Like, I don't need to see the 700 Pokemon I'm already familiar with. I have Pokemon Go to do that. I want a new Pokemon game where you show me new Pokemon and it has a reasonable sized Pokedex that I can like consider filling out without it being a full-time job. Like I appreciate the more restricted
the reset.
view, the reset. Yes.
Well,
Like
see, I never finished the decks either. Like, it's not of wanting or needing to finish the decks. It's more that, you know, like they said, you can't use your favorites or whatever anymore. And the other odd thing with it is the Pokemon Home or whatever that thing is that they're making up to dump all your Pokemon in from Pokemon Go, that you could transfer them to what, like Let's Go
let's
or
go.
something like that.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff that can't go into Let's Go that you put in there is just stuck there. You can't get it out. There's nowhere to deposit them at this point.
That is a little
So
strange.
people are like, "What the heck? What is the point of that?"
But yeah, I don't know. I have a selfish take. Like, good. Nuke everything, start over with Pokemon, show me something cool. I don't
I mean, I guess I'm okay with that, but I think the big issue right now is that they said, yeah, we can't do that because we need to make concentrate on making good animations and stuff for the new game. And like, I get pulling resources from old games, like that's smart, but the Pokemon animations were so bad.
yeah, I mean
Like, the full model just wiggled back and forth for tail whip. Like, they didn't even make its tail move. What is that?
and that's fair, but I guess in to that specific point I'll just reserve my judgment until I'm playing the final game. But yeah, I mean if that is a I guess that is the left hand not talking to the right hand, right? Like, if that is your marketing and PR spin, like if your PR spin is we needed to focus more time into the visual fidelity and the animations of this new game, then your marketing team needs to put their best foot forward, which it sounds like they have not done. So my hope is that it's just them being a bad job at selling their otherwise good game. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I, after Sun and Moon, I kind of feel like we can only go up, and I'm not like super thirsty for new Pokemon. I'm still pretty much fine, but I will pick it up and play it because I will buy every Pokemon game for the rest of time
Oh,
because I
and
was born in the late 80s, early 90s. It is
yeah.
my solemn duty to be with Pokemon until the day it dies or I die.
And how about the different gyms in each version too? Like, now they're going to extremes, I think. Like it, like, sure, the Pokemon content makes sense. Like, yeah, whatever. But like, completely different games, or not completely, but more or less different because of that. Seems
Mm,
like an interesting choice. I think that Sword's going to sell a lot more because the exclusive gym for Sword has a girl as the gym leader, and people are, always going to be more about that than a Skull Kid.
always there for their waifus.
Yeah.
But so are you going to get this game, Dan?
Yeah, I'm still buying it. I'm
Okay,
just being critical.
that's fair. I I am very much let's see. Let's see what happens. Because I feel like I don't have a horse in the race, really. Of all the like games to come out this year, I'm excited way more about some of the others. And I'm still just sitting here thinking, when are they going to let me know that Super Meat Boy Forever is coming out?
The
What are they doing
advertisement
to me?
at SGDQ said very soon, so get hype.
I am hype. I just want it. It's
Is
never
this your
before.
Blazing Chrome?
I think so. I thought I saw advertisements for it.
Dude, Blazing Chrome was supposed to come out in March, near Super Meat Boy Forever, and neither are out yet.
It's like it feels like this weird, unprecedented situation. I don't even begrudge them because they said they didn't want to do crunch on their game. They wanted to release it when it's ready, and they essentially said, "We have the money, we can." Like we made Super Meat Boy and we made Binding of Isaac. We're rich. We'll release the game when it's ready, which is fine. But like for a sequel to one of like the most successful indie games of all time and one of my favorite games of all time to have an announced release date and then just get like pushed back, but not go silent. Like they just keep coming back and tongue in cheek saying like, "Oh yeah, it'll be out pretty soon, man. You should get excited because any day you never know. Maybe you'll wake up and Super Meat Boy will be there. It's impossible to say." It's just like I've never felt so teased by a game release.
Maybe I just saw trailers for it because weren't they? Didn't they say something about it on the new Xbox thing or whatever that they had? Where maybe it wasn't Blazing Chrome. Maybe it was something that looked a lot like Blazing Chrome.
Hmm.
As far as I know, it's only coming. Well, I guess since I don't know. I
It
thought it
says
was only PC.
PS4, Xbox, Switch, and Windows.
Oh dang!
At least
Thumbs
that's what the quick Google tells me.
All right, podcast over.
Your voice cut out, which would be an even better closer.
If only it worked the same on this end.
Ugh, it's so good.
Any parting words? Anything you want to talk about before we cut it?
No, for anyone that was sad that Nick wasn't here, I assume he'll be back next time. I don't
Probably.
I don't want to give away his big news, but he has a legitimate reason to not be here right now.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
And other than that, go follow my friend Nornsey at twitch.tv/Nornsey.
I can't sell
Hashtag
myself. You have to do it for me.
hashtag road to affiliate.
Someday I'll be able to earn bits.
Dude,
Ooh.
I will tip you those bits.
Something I want to say also is that sorry it took so long. It's incredibly hard, as I believe we say a lot, to schedule four human beings with varying schedules to do a podcast. And it will probably happen again soon because some of us will be moving and doing other things and finding new jobs and all
But then
sorts of
it'll be
stuff.
easier for two of us to be there all the time.
Well, and okay, a little bit of potential hope in the future here. We will soon all be living within a reasonable distance of one another, so could theoretically switch to recording in person, which would be amazing.
That's true. I just wanted to say, like, hey, maybe not scheduled every 2 weeks for sure right now, but like after all this is over, probably back to podcasting times.
We miss the podcasts. Life is hard.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do our best. I know, I, it's annoying when I listen to a podcast and they are like, "Oh, we'll release an episode whenever," because I'm like, "No, I want my episode." But I, I would like to be honest in saying that it might be a little patchy, but that we will legitimately um, get back to a schedule at some point, and we'll let everybody know when we are on that schedule and do our best to keep the promise this time.
Yeah, it's again, it's just really hard to get us. Not even just all of us. Like it's hard to get most of us together.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dan was looking for a house for a while. I was doing the stuff that I tend to do. We were gonna. We had to record today because it's Wednesday, not Thursday. We usually record on Thursdays because Steve is having a house guest tomorrow. It's just it's
Who
been real
apparently
busy.
doesn't want to be on the podcast.
He does not. He specifically wants to come to my house and play in the groove, which
Is
Wow.
this dude from Wisconsin?
it is a dude from Wisconsin, but not the dude that I'm usually talking about. But I am going to Wisconsin this weekend to hang out with those people. So a man from Wisconsin will be at my house tomorrow. Then I will drive to Wisconsin and hang out with different people the day after.
What a situation.
Wackiness. And actually, second dude from Wisconsin, this is really what the people care about. Second dude from Wisconsin is moving up to the cities in a month.
Whoa, is that the one that you stay with?
No, the ones that I stay with.
How many dudes are in Wisconsin?
So if you want to cut all this out, you can. But there's two. One of them used to live here in Minnesota and moved to Wisconsin. He's the one I stay with, and he's the one I mostly hang out with. There's a second dude who they met in Wisconsin, and I am friends with this second dude through the first person, and he is the one who's going to come visit me, and he's the one who's moving up to the Twin Cities next month. That's part of why he's going to be here tomorrow. The first person, the person that I primarily know that used to live in Minnesota and moved to Wisconsin, at some unknown point in the future will be moving back to Minnesota as well and buying his parents' house. So eventually everyone will live in the cities and there will never be a problem,
I don't know
including
anybody from
including Noah.
Wisconsin. And that is the
Twitch.tv
cold
slash
cut.
Nornsey. Thanks for listening to the video.
No, I wanted it to cut it. I don't know anybody in Wisconsin.
You
I
just cut
have
it
all
in
the
that
power,
silence right
but...
there.
All right, goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye.